As summer arrives in Washington and the snow melts out from your favorite trail, you might decide to make the most of the longer days by going on some hikes or backpacking trips. But with so many different types of public land, keeping track of all the different permits and rules required can be a little confusing. So join us as we do a deep dive on all the different types of public land in Washington. Hi, I'm your nature friend Aaron, and while Washington has an abundance of opportunities for outdoor recreation, they're all on a variety of different lands managed by different government agencies. Each one has its own rules and requirements for entry and has different fees and permits that they charge to enter. So that's what we're going to talk about today. The different types of land in Washington, the different agencies that manage them, and the different fees and permitting structures. So let's get started with the most well-known category on our list, national parks. Washington's national parks draw in over 9 million visitors a year, and it's easy to see why. They're some of the most stunning outdoor spaces in the country. But with that sort of popularity comes a bit of a trade-off. You see, these national parks, which are administered by the National Park Service, also have some pretty strong rules and requirements for entry. Think timed vehicle entry, entrance fees, and also backcountry reservations. Oftentimes, visiting a national park can take weeks or even months of planning. The two most visited parks in the state, Olympic and Mount Rainier, charge entrance fees between $15 and $30 depending on whether you're entering on foot or by vehicle. If you're planning to go more than once a year, each park does offer a $55 annual pass. But with that said, the best value by far is the America the Beautiful Pass, also called the Interagency Pass, which for $80 gives you, your vehicle, and up to 3 passengers unlimited access to all U.S. national parks and federal recreation areas for a full year. And it covers way more than just national parks. It's also accepted at nearly every federal site featured in this video. You may be wondering why I haven't mentioned the last of the major national parks in Washington, and that's for good reason. You see, North Cascades National Park doesn't charge an entrance fee. It's 100% free. They do charge for campsite fees and backcountry reservations, but again, they don't have any entrance fees whatsoever. You don't even need a pass to park at a trailhead within the park. It's pretty great. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that the National Park Service doesn't just manage national parks. They also manage national historic monuments, landmarks, and so much more. So make sure to check with the specific listing that you're interested in for the rules and requirements for entry, because they vary from site to site. But with that being said, entrance is completely free so long as you have a America the Beautiful Pass. Next up on our list is the largest category of land in Washington, national forests, which are managed by the U.S. Forest Service. Now, national forests differ from national parks in a few ways. For starters, they're usually a little less crowded than national parks because they're not as well known. They're also a bit more accessible, in my opinion, than national parks because they don't really have the same reservation requirements and rules for entry like national parks do. Also, they're not just focused on recreation and conservation. They're also used for resource management, timber harvesting, that sort of thing. Keep in mind though that visiting a national forest still requires a fee. Fortunately, it's a bit more affordable than national park admission at just $5 for a day pass. The America the Beautiful Pass, which we mentioned earlier, is valid at all national forest sites, or if you're only interested in national forests, you can purchase a Northwest Forest Pass for $30, which gives you unlimited access to all the national forests in both Washington and Oregon for an entire year. If you're a wildlife lover, then this next category is for you. National wildlife refuges, which are managed by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, offer some incredibly underrated opportunities for recreation. But because these places are managed mostly for conservation, they also have some pretty strict rules. Several of these places aren't open for the entire year, and the ones that are open have some pretty strict rules attached, so make sure to check in with the specific location that you're interested in. Also, entrance fees vary. Some of them charge them, some of them don't. But luckily, the America the Beautiful Pass grants you entry at any of them. The last federal agency on our list is the Bureau of Land Management, which only manages about 420,000 acres in Washington, give or take. Now, from what I can tell, the BLM doesn't actually charge entrance fees, but they do charge for campground reservations. With that being said, if there are any sites that do charge entrance fees that I just happen to miss, I'm sure that the America the Beautiful Pass we talked about earlier will be accepted at them. Now, before we move on to state agencies, I do want to talk about one special type of designation that has its own set of rules. These are called wilderness areas, and in Washington, they're found in national parks and in national forests. There are over 31 wilderness areas in Washington, and they're all federally protected from development and commercial use, to the point where motorized equipment like ATVs or chainsaws or even camera drones aren't allowed inside. They also are a bit more removed from human development and towns and cities, so they tend to be a lot more quiet than national parks are. In fact, I've been on backpacking trips in wilderness areas where I didn't encounter a single person for the entire trip. It was incredible and amazing. So if that's something you're interested in, then definitely check out wilderness areas. As you can see, I'm pretty passionate about them, so I don't know, maybe I'll make some videos on them in the future. Now keep in mind that these areas still follow the rules of the greater land boundaries they're in. So if the wilderness is in a national forest, then you still need a Northwest Forest Pass. Or if it's in a national park, then you still need to pay for admission. But most of the campsites in the backcountry are free and first come, first serve, with no reservation system. Now, there are a few exceptions. All the backcountry sites in national parks do need a reservation, and the campsites in a region called the Enchantments, which is located in the Alpine Lakes Wilderness, have a lottery reservation system because they're incredibly popular. But otherwise, wilderness areas are a great option for those spur-of-the-moment trips. Now let's shift gears and talk about state lands, which thankfully are a lot easier to figure out. You either have to purchase a day use permit or a Discover Pass, which, like the Northwest Forest Pass and some other passes we talked about, gives you unlimited access for an entire year to state lands. But don't confuse the two. Discover passes aren't valid on federal lands, and federal passes aren't valid on state lands. So depending on your interests, it may be a good idea to pick up both of them. As for the types of state lands, there are three main agencies involved. State parks are managed by the Washington State Parks and Recreation Commission. Much like national parks, these are geared primarily towards recreation, with well-maintained trails, campsites, and other amenities like that. State trust lands, which are overseen by the Department of Natural Resources, focus more on economic activities like logging, but they do still offer some recreational options. Wildlife areas are managed by the Department of Fish and Wildlife, and they focus on habitat conservation, but they also support activities like hunting and fishing. Finally, you can't forget your local spots. City parks and trails are a fantastic way to get outside while staying in your own backyard. In fact, I'm in one right now. They're usually free and are accessible by public transportation, so they're perfect for those midweek nature fixes. And that's it. As you can see, there are so many different amazing opportunities for experiencing the outdoors in Washington, and keeping track of all these different agencies can be a lot of work. But I hope this video has been helpful for you. If you liked it, make sure to like and subscribe for more PNW outdoor content. I'm your nature friend Aaron, and I'll see you next time.